Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm just going to share this in the groups before we get going, so just bear with me for a little moment.
I'll just drink the tea, Danny. That's what I'll do.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe sing a song or whistle a tune.
Oh no, we want people to pay attention, not run away.
We've shown up already. Let's have a look. Share to a group. Power You Energy Healing done. Search, thrive and shine. There we go. Yeah. So that's just shared into the groups, which pleases me because I know some people will be tuning in. So we're going to get going now. So as I say, hi to everyone, and thank you so much for joining us, whether you are live or catching the replay. If you've ever felt like a victim to your thoughts and feelings, then you're going to want to stick around for this interview. I'm super excited today to bring you an expert on how the mind actually works. He's a public speaker. He's been studying this subject for years now. He's a clarity coach and a mentor, not least to me as well. My guest has his own breakfast show with Channel 103, a radio station in Jersey. He's also stepped down as a member of Parliament earlier in the year as well, which is fascinating. And he's here with me today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted to welcome Peter Mack. Thank you for joining me. It's so wonderful to have you with us again. Thank you, Peter.
My pleasure. I was putting fireworks, explosions, and laser beams there, Danny. That big intro.
Round of applause. We've got 3 viewers online. I'm counting. Do drop us a line and a hello in the comments. Any questions or comments you may have as we move forward, as we move on. And Peter, so you've obviously left your job as a radio presenter about for 4 years, roughly.
About 5 years shortly, Danny. Yeah, about 5
right.
months already.
And then you were a politician, and you also had a thriving practice as a hypnotherapist and an NLP guy. And then you stumbled upon this understanding, which we'll get into more a little bit later on. But I just wonder if you could share how things have changed since going back to Channel 103. I don't mean like the controls being different, but just like how you see things and approach things.
How I think about it, how I feel about it. Well, I'm a lot calmer than I used to be. I let things bother me a lot less than they used to. That's for sure. And the completely different way of understanding how life really works and who I really am and who you really are means that, in a strange way, I don't take life as seriously, or rather, I take what I do seriously, but not who I am. Because as we'll probably talk about, I make me up. We all make ourselves up. We're all a thought we have about ourselves. And so it makes it a lot easier and a lot less wrapped up. And I'm a lot less, my ego is a lot less fragile. We put it, because egos in this instance is completely pointless because we're all equal anyway. It's just that I happen to have some skills and it'd be rude not to use them.
Yeah, wonderful. I know you were certainly a popular choice going back after 4 or 5 years, and a lot of people were pleased to see you back, to hear you back, and your show's gone from strength to strength. I know I tuned in on a couple of points, and it's delightful. I recommend Jersey Channel 103, 6 till 12, the breakfast show. If you want to,
Oh, 6 till 10. I would be dead if I did 6 till 12. But
6 till 10 is it? Beg your pardon.
I appreciate you tuning in. I really do. Yeah. Whatever nonsense I was on about, you enjoyed it. That's good.
I'd love you to speak to the viewers and tell the story about Sid Banks in particular, how and when he had an insight which kicked off this understanding. I've heard you tell the story before, and you tell it so well. So I wonder if you could share that.
Well, I'll tell my version of it, and I'll bet there'll be some purists who say, no, it didn't happen like that. But my understanding story is Sid Banks, who people may not be aware of, was, if you like, the founding father of the three principles, or the person who spotted. He was what Newton was to gravity, what Sid Banks is to the three principles, for want of a better expression. And my version of the story goes like this. Sid was born and raised in Scotland, in Edinburgh. He was a welder. Eventually, at some point, I believe in the 60s, he immigrated to Canada, where he met and married and raised a family on a small most of Vancouver, somewhere. And as his relationship grew, it got a little on the dodgy side, and there wasn't much in the way of marriage counselling or relationship counselling around then, but him and his wife had to go to Vancouver on business or something, and they noticed there was a seminar in a local 70s hotel, probably orange and beige coloured and appalling, and the seminar was called something like, "So your marriage has turned to shit," or something like that. So they rocked on up. They ummed and ahed. This is my understanding of the story. They ummed and ahed. Do we really want to go and do a thing like this? It sounds pants. But they thought, well, we've nothing else to do, so let's be open to it, and we can always leave if we don't like it. So they turned up, and they're sitting in the audience with, I don't know, maybe 50 other warring couples, which must have made for a very uncomfortable room indeed. And at some point, the people running the seminar got a couple up on stage, introduced them, and then got them to have a row with each other, which would have made for an even less comfortable room. At some point, Sid and his wife turned to each other and said, "Look, after coffee, we're going to get out of here. This is mad." You know, that people go to the theatre, don't enjoy the shows, so they go for a drink at half time and walk out so they don't get noticed. And I think they were about to do that, but they were having their coffee, and they were at a table with some other people. And I think he was a psychotherapist or psychologist or something, was there with his wife, and he said, "So how's it going? What are you getting out of it?" And Sid said, "Well, actually, we're going to leave soon. This is wrong." And the psychologist guy said, "Oh, well, I think we're doing okay." But Sid said, "I've figured out something." He said, "The reason why our relationship is a bit wonky is because I'm insecure. I'm insecure about whether I'm a good enough husband. I'm insecure about what he's up to when I'm at work. And I know that it's all fine, but there's still this bit of me which cannot quite believe it. And when it comes to work, I know I'm a good welder, but I never go up the ladder because I'm insecure that I'm good enough. And I'm not even sure the lads at work like me, although they patently do. And when it comes to the kids, do I love them enough? Do they love me enough? Am I a good enough father? I'm insecure about this, that, and the other. Insecure. And this psychotherapist fella said something which he may even to this day, if he's still around, not be aware of what he said. He said, "Sid, you're not insecure. You just think you're insecure." And Sid had a moment of insight, a light bulb went off in his head. And I think he went away and he reflected. More about that later too. And a few days later, and I could be making up huge chunks of the story myself, but it's in my town. He went to work and he said to the guys were chatting. And he said, "What do you do over the weekend?" And one of them said, "I went out for a drink with Bob." And I said, "I went fishing with Steve." "What do you do, Sid?" And Sid said, "I discovered the future of psychology." Which, when you call a welder and your mate Sid the welder says you've discovered the future of psychology, you tend to think he might have completely lost his marbles. But when he said, tell you what, guys, come round our house on Friday night for beer and crisps, bring your partners, and I'll explain what I've seen. And they went, "Free beer and crisps." Rant. And so they went round, and he sat down and explained the story, what he'd seen, and slowly but surely, these people in the room are thinking, "I think he's got something here. I think there must be something in this." Because when you have these principles, psychological principles, explained to you, it suddenly becomes blindingly obvious that it has to work that way. No tools, no fixes, no "I have to change the world out there to change how I feel," none of that. It can only work one way. It really makes sense it works this way. And then when you start to see it at a deeper and deeper level, your life gets easier and easier and easier. And you're not even doing it because it's doing you. Just like gravity. You're not doing gravity, gravity's doing you. And you don't even have to think about the fact that there's gravity unless you're a gymnast or a circus act or something. You just get on with your life. So that's Sid's story. Quickly up to the beginning, the seeds how it started.
Yeah, I think it's a great way into this conversation, this topic. And I would love if you'd kind of nailed down on things just to give a bit of a grounding and a platform. What are we talking about when we're talking about the three principles. I know we can go on all day about and talk last night asleep, but could you just give us some kind of grounding, please?
In as much as explaining gravity to people, because there's an interesting way of explaining gravity to people, and that is that if you've got they're called potato-shaped comets, and they kind of lobbly. They look like jack potatoes. Apparently, they don't know they look like jack potatoes. That's what they look like. They haven't become round because they're not quite big enough. And then there comes a point when something has enough mass that it starts to form its own gravity, and it starts to form a sphere. So basically, the bigger a thing is, it forms its own gravity. Now, that's interesting, but knowing that or not knowing that, you've got gravity anyway.
Yes.
Three principles can be explained like this. These are psychological principles. And you don't want to get too into them, but I think what it does is it gives your intellect a chance to grab hold of something.
Yeah. Yeah.
While the intelligence that works behind it all goes, yeah, I know, underneath your idea of you. So if we rewind to the principles that Sid kind of told the guys in the room that day, he hadn't quite formed it like this, but he was on his way to it. He said, right, the first of the three principles, in no particular order, is the principle of mind. Now, not your brain, not your thoughts, but the principle of the universal intelligence of life. What's running the show now, Danny? What's beating your heart and the hearts of the people watching this? What's having them breathe in and out without thinking about it? What's growing their hair or not, in your case, Danny? And I love you. It's universal principle of the intelligence of life. And there was a time back when I was asked to go to a primary school to explain this stuff to some young children of 10, 11. And I thought, how am I going to do that? And so I found an acorn. There's an oak tree across the way from the house, and I took it in and I said, see that? Given the right conditions, given enough water and enough space and enough light and maybe a little bit of luck, that has everything in it needs to turn into an oak tree. And that is mind-blowing. I mean, when you really think about it, that's mind-blowing. And there isn't a scientist on this planet who go, yeah, I found some stuff in the broom cupboard at the back of the lab, so I made an acorn. Can't be done.
Yeah.
The intelligence of life does that. Man hasn't cracked it. Could never crack it. It's there. And I said to these children, and see that intelligence of life, that's in you right now. It's running you in the background. It's digesting your breakfast. It's growing your toenails. It's having you be aware of the feeling on your skin. It's doing all of those things. You're not controlling that. Your idea of you isn't doing that. This life is doing you. And it's doing every living thing. Everything. It's general. And you happen to be a human form of this life. But this life is everywhere. The planet is crawling with it. And it is amazing. And you can't beat it and you're not in control of it. You live it, or rather it lives you. I explained this once to a woman of faith in a group. She came up and she said, you're talking about God, aren't you? And I said, if you like, if that's the way you wrap your head around it. And I'm pretty sure that the only way that mankind could wrap itself around what this amazing thing is was to assign it a beard and muscles, stick it on a cloud, and call it vengeful or whatever, and it had to look like a man. But when you really think about it, when we crawled out of the swamp, when several celled creatures crawled out of the swamp, they didn't look much like, I don't know, Barry Gibb. So why would it be a man?
Yes.
It's life is what it is. And so when you listen, and this is a great discussion I had with somebody earlier, when you listen to the messages that Jesus espoused or that are in the Bible, they all point to the fact that God is omnipresent.
Yes.
Yeah, obviously, omnipresent everywhere, and you are God. And that's life. You are life. And it's not outside you, it's in you. And it's in you for that long. and then it flows through you and it flows on. So whilst you've got it, enjoy it. That's my way of viewing it. And if you want to believe it's a bloke with a beard on a cloud, do that too, because if that gives you comfort, that's fine, no judgment. But another way of looking at it is, and this is true, that life force, that universal intelligence of life, is love. And so, not love in the hearts and flowers sense of the word, but love in the connected understanding of the glory of the fact that we're alive and life is all around us and you're connected to it. And our problems all arise from the fact that at some point or other we think we're disconnected from it. We think somehow we are an us and life's out there. But it can't be. We are it and it is us. Which brings us on to the second of the principles, which is the principle of thought. These appear to be separate, they're not they're the same thing, but just so you can wrap your intellect around it.
Yes, yes.
The principle of thought is the universal energy of creation of your reality, as it were. And what it says is, A, you're alive, well done, and B, there's data out there, and you process the data using thought. But when you look at it, it's data. It comes in, your ability to think it into shape takes over, and then you feel what you're thinking about whatever you're making of the world out there. In other words, we spend our entire lives being told or educated that the world, in some way, shape, or form, has an effect on us. Our lives can come at us and it can beat us round, or we can be unlucky, or we can be lucky, or we can hate Brussels sprouts, or we can like cabbage, and it's coming at us. But no, it's the other way around. We're not watching a movie of our life and it's affecting us. We're projecting the movie because it's all a thought that we have about life. And if it were possible for something, anything out there to make us feel anything in here, even if it seems not true, then we would all feel the same about everything. But we don't. We're different characters with a different, an apparently different reality based on what we think is occurring out there. And it's just true. Even when it seems like it's not. And I've come to this realization that the only reason that we feel anything about the world out there is to give us a sense of actually being alive. Otherwise, we'd just be a stone. And when you really think about it, if it's not happening in the very moment and it's not a threat, then everything else, for example, that we're scared of, is imagination. We're making it up to be scared of it and projecting it out onto the world, onto the thing we haven't yet done, or the thing that happened, but only exists now. And when you start to see more and more that you are scared of, angry about, made happy by, unhappy by your own unrecognized thinking your entire life, and there are times when it doesn't suit you, and there are times when it does suit you, but when you see that, it makes a world's difference as to how life shows up for you. A world's difference. And the third principle is consciousness. It's an awareness. It's, I am a me, who I call Peter, having an idea of the world, and I'm alive to do so. Kind of puts it rather simplistically. The consciousness can be a bit of a bugger because it dictates a sort of separation from the world. I'm separate from that world, and I'm a me, and so on and so forth. So those three things, simple as they are, without anything to do, is kind of the way of explaining what gravity is, a mass. It's how you have an idea of a you and I have an idea of a me, and how we make up our lives. And it is profound. It's profoundly simple. And I swear that most people who have complicated problems want complicated solutions to them. But you're just feeling what's running through your thought system in this very moment, sunshine. And when you see it for what it is, you'll still feel it sometimes, but you don't have to believe it, because that voice in your head is not you. That voice in your head is your ego banging on again about something or other, your idea of you. You are the hearer of that voice. You sit before that voice. Who hears that voice? The
Yeah.
real you, who's perfectly all right underneath the piles of crap stories you tell yourself, which we all do.
Yeah, I love that. I love the way you wrap words around these concepts, this understanding, and how you sort of explain it. And I just, for the people watching, I'm kind of speculating maybe what they're thinking or asking questions. If you could maybe bring this home a little bit, and you've touched on it earlier, but what about if someone's experiencing anxiety or depression or grief? And how can you sort of bring this home to their
Um,
understanding?
Firstly, to experience any emotion, there's nothing wrong with having emotions. This doesn't make you a cold robot, but you appreciate that emotions have a purpose. Emotions are what make you human. Emotions are perfectly good to feel. I would wholly recommend grieving. Don't avoid it, because as a hypnotherapist, even as a clarity coach, a principles coach, I see people who come along and who've been trying to bury their thinking for years, and this stuff, there's information in the feeling. It's trying to get your attention. There's learning in it, and with the good questions, you can a person can start to see clearly why it functions the way it does. And so with grieving, grieve. That's okay, but you'll still be perfectly okay, because underneath it all, you're feeling, you're thinking. This is not to detract from the fact that you're feeling sad thinking about the loss of somebody. That's okay. But you can only feel what's running through your thoughts, not the outside world, because there'll be people who have lost people who'll be happy they did. It's tragic it comes to that, but so losing somebody cannot make you feel anything. Certain circumstances cannot make you feel anything. We were talking about how dreadful it must be to lose a child, you know. And if you had to have a hierarchy of worst things down to the easiest things that would affect you in the outside world, and then you're looking at that loss of a child, and then you go, oh, that's right near the top. And then somebody says, well, what if that child was really suffering and it was time for them to go? There'd be sadness, but there'd be a blessed relief. Would that not change where you place it on that hierarchy? Well, I suppose it would. So the point is, you feel what you're thinking about it, and it would change how you look at it. That's true for everything. Everything on this planet, you feel what's running through your thought system about everything, and it doesn't feel like it a lot of the time. So grief, anxiety, anxious people live in the future, and they're making shit up to be scared of. And when they get to the now, it's not as bad as they thought it was going to be, but they're looking for the next thing to be anxious about.
Yeah.
Depressed people live in the past. They're looking to somehow change what's already happened. Can't do that. And the interesting thing when it comes to depression or anxiety is the past in no way, shape, or form exists. In no way, shape, or form is there a past. There's evidence of the past all around you. Stonehenge, pretty good evidence of the past.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
if you said to somebody, so, how old's that? Oh, it's really old. Yeah. When is it? Well, it's now, isn't it? Yeah, it's always now. Memories are not the past. Memories are thoughts that you drag kicking and screaming through time to the very moment that you have them, which is now. And invariably, if you're living in the past, you're beating yourself over the head with shit memories of things that once happened but aren't happening now. And you hold yourself back from your life. Memories can be useful and lovely too, but it's the ones that you keep going back to all the time and deciding that they have some sort of power over you They don't. They just don't. They feel like they do, but the moment you spot it, at whatever level you spot it, you think, I'm not going to live in the past anymore. I'm not going to walk down the street backwards looking at the potholes I once fell into. I'm going to turn around and go in the direction I'm going, towards the future, which also doesn't exist. The future is an unknown equation. The future is an imagination. And for some of the time, you'll get it pretty well right. But as I said to a client the other day, who was planning their future and knew exactly what was supposed to happen, I said, right now there are people in A&E who didn't plan that when they got up this morning.
Yeah.
You don't know. There's no reason to be scared, but you don't know. So stop scaring yourself and just live your life and be present in the only moment that you're in, and that's this one. With a mind towards the direction you'd like to go in the life that you are making up. I hope that answers the question. It's a mad old rant now.
Yeah. I'm just reflecting as you're talking and reflecting on the week I've had, and I've had a lot of thoughts, a lot of thinking around certain aspects of my life at the moment. And even though I've got this understanding, this awareness, it can feel so bloody real, and it's felt uncomfortable. But there's a bit of a almost like a skill, an achievement to allow those thoughts just to pass through you, instead of clinging onto them and believing in them and drooling with them and beating yourself up with them. And that's kind of a really good place to get at, to become present and aware of them, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, when you think about it, the thoughts you have in a day, you're not, this is another point to make. You're not in control of the thoughts you have. You have random thoughts all the time. You're a thought making factory, and they bubble on through you, many of which are dangerous and illegal. And you really shouldn't act upon them, because if you did, you'd probably be in prison right now or whatever. But most people who understand that, they go, oh, no, let's get something popped through my head. I wouldn't do that. They carry on. But there are some that come through their head. They go, now I know those other ones are complete bollocks, but this one here, this one's real. Oh, what's that one? I'm going to grab hold of that one and run with it. That one's no more real than any of the other ones. Thinking is an ability, not a reality. You are able to think up all sorts, and God knows you do. But it's not real. There is no reality. You have your own personal version of it. And to you, it's designed to feel really, really real. But to somebody else on the outside of you looking at you going, God, they talk bollocks. That's not real. What they talk, why can't they plainly see that they're bonkers about whatever that is? But you have to respect them, because to them, they're projecting this reality out into the world and going, yeah, that's true, that is. That's real, that is. And what this understanding allows you is, more often than not, more and more of the time, to see it for what it really is. It's coming from you, not through choice, but it's tricking you sometimes. And when you spot the trick, you're less likely to scare yourself by jumping out from behind the sofa and going boom. Less likely.
Yeah, I love that quote. Thinking is an ability, not a reality. That's just so profound, and you can sit and think with that thought for a while. And it's just the first time I heard you say that, I was quite, I stopped in my tracks. I was like, yeah, there's so much wisdom in that short sentence.
Yeah, it's really cool for objects like, cup. But yeah, that looks like a cup. Yeah, you're aware of a cup. The reason you're aware of a cup is that there's thought cup in your head, and it molds cup in there and decides that's cup and makes it cup. But I guarantee if you walked deep into the forest of, I don't know, the Amazon somewhere or other, and showed this to a tribe that hadn't made contact with the so-called civilized world, and went, what's that? They go, whoa, I have no frame of reference. I've no idea. How could I know what that is? They might have bowls, they might have it, but a pencil, iPad, no idea. It's inside you what that thing is. But when it comes to non-physical objects, like fear of an interview, standing up in public, doing something like this, fear of learning a new thing, that's completely made up bollocks, because it's not physically in the world in this moment. It's you feeling your beliefs and attitudes to a world and then blaming it on the world for it. The world can't send beams of power at you from the future because it doesn't exist. It can't send beams of energy from you from the past because that doesn't exist. It can only come from inside you. And when you spot it with no blame, go, oh, I've just seen what's happening. It calms down. Because underneath the layers of bullshit that you build up about who you believe you are and what you believe you can do and what you think you're for and what you think you're not for, underneath all that lies that intelligent spark of life. Who you really are is life and is love, and with a story about who you are. And the interesting thing about it is not only do you have the stories about what's out there, but you are a thought you have about yourself. You entirely make yourself up. The past can't make you up because it doesn't exist. But you've told yourself a recurring story and held it in place. And the moment you see that and you go, I don't have to be that anymore. Or if I become it, I know where that's coming from. I can be free. I can follow my passion and not tell myself stories, and not, most importantly, not tiptoe through life hoping to make it safely to death.
Yeah, that's not the mandate. That's definitely not going to serve you. Yeah, there was a time when I couldn't even conceive doing one of these broadcasts, interviewing amazing people like yourself, and either on a Facebook Live with a virtual audience or working with groups in person, both of which I do, and I know you certainly do as well. But now it's my comfort zone, which again I've heard you say is all made up. Your comfort zone is just thought construct, and you get to decide what it is and where the boundaries are.
Yeah, and they can feel real. Oh, I don't. It's outside my comfort zone. I don't do that. Well, okay, no pressure. However, there is no comfort zone. That's a line beyond which something in you has told yourself you won't step across because you've made up some bullshit about what it means to you to step across that line. And it's okay to have one. It's cool, but don't kid yourself that it has a hold on you, because it doesn't exist. And you've discovered that. And what I know is that once you start challenging your comfort zone, once you start pushing towards the edge of it, where it gets uncomfortable, that's where you're going to learn. That's where you're going to grow. That's where the good stuff is. But if you keep on saying, no, I've decided who I'm going to be. I became this when I was 12, when I was bullied at school. So I'm going to keep holding on to this belief for the whole of the rest of my life, even if it screws me over royally, then all we can hope is at some point you wake up and go, I don't know if I want to be that me anymore. If I'm making all this up, I'm making up my thoughts and my feelings about this entire world. It doesn't seem like I am, but that's the only way it can work. Then why am I going to hold myself back anymore? What am I scared of? What am I scared of? It's not, saber-toothed tigers are not gnawing my kneecaps off right now. I'm rather scared of doing a Facebook Live with decent, reasonable people who are interested in something. And they're people like me. We're connected. We're all connected because we're alive. And nobody has to pay any attention to it if they don't want. I've nothing on it. It's all flat Earth society for me. I know the Earth's a globe. Flat Earthers can believe what they want. I don't care. I know how it works, and I'm really happy to. And there are times when I don't see it. There are times when I still think my psychological world is flat. I lose sight of it sometimes. I blame the traffic. I blame the oven. I moan at the cats. I do that sometimes, but not as much. Why would I? I'm making it all up.
Yeah. Just go to the comments for a moment. We've got Carolyn Collins Aitchison, I hope I pronounced that right, giving you a round of applause in the comments. She's obviously resonating with what you're saying. Barry Gray's on the live stream as well. He's saying hello. Deline is giving the white eyes, which yeah, just thank you guys for joining us. We have 6 on at the moment, and I know there's been a good 3 or 4 of those on since we kicked off. I just want to really sort of bring it home if anyone's new to this topic. Could you compare, contrast the Peter Mac having a bad day, years ago prior to this understanding compared to having a so-called bad in inverted commas day
Yeah,
now.
sure. Yeah, good way of looking at it. In there once upon a time, I'd have woken up on the wrong side of the bed, and I'd have thought to myself, "Oh, that's it. My day's going to be shit." And so, what happens if you're projecting a shit day? Well, then you start to have a shit day. You start to see shit things happen. You are. I love the metaphor that I'm going to have a shit day goggles.
Yeah,
It looks like a shit day. So even nice things, my head's going, nah, that doesn't count because this is a shit day. If I wake up in a good mood, I've got my good day goggles on, and I see a good day. And even shit things can happen during that day because my mood is at a certain level, my consciousness is raised to a certain degree. And so, shit things come along, I'll just deal with that because I'm having a good day. You don't see the world as it is, you see the world as you are.
yeah, great point.
When you really start to see that some days, because you're not in control of the weather of your thinking and how you feel, that bumbles on. Sometimes it's low, sometimes it's high, it goes up and down. It's just the price you pay for being conscious and aware is that thoughts race on through, and sometimes they're darker and more low, and sometimes they're up, but they're not real. And as soon as you start assigning it to the world out there, I feel like if there's that, then what you do is you start to find evidence in the world to prove you feel like you do, which is why angry people find reasons to be angry, and sad people find more reasons to be sad. Like, all the songs on the radio are about split up. Once you've just split up, you
Yeah,
find reasons. And happy people find more reasons to be happy in their day. And your mood can go up and down. But when you know that it's not coming from the world out there, even there are times when you go, yeah, but that really pissed me off. Yeah, well, yeah, you had really pissed off thinking about that, maybe justifiably so, I don't know. But you're still feeling the quality of your thinking, sunshine, that's all there is. And do you want to carry that around with you for the rest of the day? Or do you want to go, okay, bye bye, I'll let you pass through me. I'm not going to identify with that mood. I'm going to have it, then it's going to go. And I'm going to carry on living my life. Because all your moods come and go. Beforehand, I'd have blamed the past, blame this, blame that, blame my upbringing, whatever, and carried that around like a torch. Now I go, no, actually, this is a choice, isn't it? I can use the past to beat myself over the head with and blame it and blame other people, or I can take responsibility for who I am, show up to my life, live it and try and live it as well as I can do, and forgive myself because I'm not perfect, but just enjoy being me. So the difference is I I talk less bullshit to myself about what life is, what I think it is, and realize that actually I woke up this morning, my heart was beating, I was breathing in and out, and I'm aware that I'm a me. And I don't know what's going to happen today, but I'm still grateful for another day on planet Earth. Because one day for sure, it's gone. Wake up to that sunshine. And don't wait for your life to start. People postpone their life until all the time. And there'll be a part of them in there who just does postponing until. Oh, we're not ready yet, are we? Oh, we've got to wait until we're in a relationship. Oh, we've got to wait until we're married. Oh, we've got to wait till we have kids before I can be happy. Oh, we've got to wait till the kids are in school before I can be happy. Oh, we've got to wait till the kids have left school and gone to university until I'm happy. Oh, we've got to wait until they've left home until I'm happy. Oh, we've got to wait until we're retired until I'm happy. Oh, we've got to wait until we've got our holiday home in whatever until I'm happy. Oh, we've got to wait until this happens, that happens one day, and then poof, dead. It's happening now. All your life. Don't bloody wait for it to start. You're pissing it away. Grab hold of the moment that you're in and take responsibility for who you are. Because the world owes you nothing. You're alive. You've won the lottery. Stop waiting for life to give it to you. And bizarrely, the moment you stop expecting life to give you iPads and nice cars and the right sort of food in the fridge and all the rest of that, it tends to deliver more. You tend to get more of it the moment you stop thinking it's yours by right, because you stop pushing against life and you start to realize that life's the boss. You're an example of it. And if you do this, for example, if you reach out to people and you have a connected conversation with them, you say, hey, fellow humanity, come on now. We're all right, you know, underneath all the layers of crap thinking. Come on, we're all in this together. Then life goes, that's what I'm talking about, sunshine. Yeah. Have a chocolate eclair. Woo! Chocolate eclair, where'd that come from? I'm lucking it now because I'm connected to love and respect.
Yeah, I love that. Thanks for explaining that so beautifully put. Let's go to the comments a moment. We've got Steve Behan in the house. I know you know Steve,
Boy.
he's seen rocking in the free world, which amen to that, brother. And then we've got Barry Gray. He's just, talking about what you've just been discussing. He says, simple but brilliant, said in a language that I resonate with. And yeah,
Thanks, man.
totally concur with that. Um, I know this understanding revolutionized, totally turned on its head your practice because, as we said earlier, you used to be a hypnotherapist and NLP, and obviously that must have changed fairly rapidly once you have this new awareness
Dude,
and the way you see clients and how you approach
it's
them.
changed massively. I can tell you for why as well. And I love that I learned to do that. And I love that I found this part of me which wanted to help people, you know, be the best them they could be. I love that part of me. But I used to see people and assume that they had a problem that I could fix, that they were broken somehow. And I had the glue and some sort of a plan to fix them. And yeah, the stuff that I did, it would work. It would help them. It would help lift an area of their life, and they'd go away better and grateful, and that was magic. But what I've come to realize is that nobody's broken. Nobody on this planet is broken. You can think you are, and you can act on that belief your entire life. Not underneath at all. You're really good to go, and I know that because your heart's beating and you're breathing in and out. So life's already pulling the strings behind it, and your ego is crushed, or it's off whack, or it's dragging memories around. Bang, bang, bang. Your shit. Your shit. Your shit. Stand back, protect, and and I realised when I was, doing timelines or drop throughs or whatever, that was just me aiding somebody to be in a place where they could have an insight, which is fresh new thinking, thought I'd never had before about how it works. And I thought it was me doing it, but no, underneath all that, there's that wisdom who whispers quietly in their ear and goes, "You're okay, you know." And they go, "Whoa, okay." And I'm going, "Check me out, I'm some ninja." It's not me. It's not me doing it. I've realised since then that several things. One, nobody ever listens to anybody anymore. Not really. People in any conversation are generally practicing the next thing they're going to say while the other person's talking. But if you really listen from the center of your heart, then you'll hear things. The wisdom will go, that, quietly underneath your ego. And then you don't give people advice. This is the coaching side of it. You use the principles, do the heavy lifting. And when somebody says, "Oh, I can't do this because of that," instead of saying, "Well, of course you can, because look, you're big and strong now. You're not the child that you were," but it's far more honouring to say, "So, what is it about that you don't think you can do, and why do you think that way?" And you put it back to them, and they'll stop and they'll go quiet and they'll reflect. And in that moment, they might see a little bit more of who they really are because they're so used to, "This is who I am," that when you say, "Explain to me how that works, why that is." "I've never thought of it that way before." I love those words. "I've never thought of it that way before." I go, we're getting somewhere there, aren't we? And I also love, "I'm really confused now," because confused is right on the cusp of something fresh popping up in their head. And if you, as I've taken a look at my mind, and this is just my way of looking at it, that if my mind, my idea of me, is a vast mansion with an innumerable number of corridors with a zillion doors along each corridor, and many I've opened lots of times. I've walked around and I know what's in there, but there's loads I either never thought to look in, or went, whoa, I'm not going in there, essentially, and I walk past. And any question to me says, what's in there? I don't know. Have a peek. Open it up. I've just seen a new way of thinking. I've just realized something. I've just had an insight. And so to have somebody in an insight-friendly space, which is kind of what's going on here, and to have them think, I've never looked at it that way before, that's magic, because you start to question any uncomfortable reality that you may be projecting out there, and start to think, yeah, I guess I've always made that up, and it's always protected me from what I've made up. It's projecting dragons and then keeping me safe from the dragons it's projected. That makes no sense. If actually I don't want to go over there and do that, why would I hold myself up? Why would I tiptoe? And so you start to wake up more and more.
Yeah. It's beautifully explained. It's just occurring to me as you talk about having insight. A lot of practitioners, whichever tools they use, NLP, hypnosis, EFT, the list goes on. It's almost like stabilizers on a bike. It's their crutch, and what technique can I use next? What can I use next? What can I use next? What can I use next? And that's often what they're thinking of as the client will be
Constantly.
talking.
Hands up, I was that man.
Yeah, me too. But I think eventually, once you stumble across this understanding, you realise that you no longer need the stabilizers on your bike. You no longer need the tools, and you
Because
can.
there's nothing wrong with them.
Yeah,
Bar they think there's something wrong with them. And it's not, don't be silly, there's nothing wrong with you. I appreciate and understand that the way you're seeing the world is the way it is. And I'm not going to try to persuade you that it isn't. However, let's have a connected conversation where I help you get out of your own way, and I don't tell you everything's fine, because that's not for me to tell you. It's for you to realise, to see, and really to go away and come back and go, what the hell happened there? I don't know. You saw something, you had an insight, and it knocked over the dominoes of that thinking. Like I used to do when I was, doing all the other stuff. I used to kind of get in that area, but this is far more profound. This is like doing the reset on your humanity, on who you think you are. This stuff, and it's in you. It's in every human being on the planet. It's always been that way. It always will be that way. And so it is fascinating to me to see people wake up and to gently shake them, but not to say, I demand you wake up, because you must. I won't do that then, because nobody likes to be told that they've got it wrong. Nobody.
right. See, in essence, giving the person sitting in front of you the gift of your presence. You're being totally in the moment with them, as you say, getting connected conversation going, and then things naturally sort of quieten down. And as you say, you're setting the scene for them to have an insight, which you're not responsible for. You can't make them do anything. But
They may not even have one in that session. That's not your responsibility either. You can have an insight anywhere, but generally in a place where you're asking good questions of somebody and you're connected to them, and in a place where my idea of how it's supposed to work out is completely out the window, because it's none of my flaming business.
yeah.
When you remove yourself, your ego's need to prove itself, and you go, no, you don't have to do that anymore. Just be with them. Just really be with them and ask questions, and every once in a while educate them. If something pops up and it feels like there's a little gap in their understanding that you might be able to fill, go, but how about that? Go to some of the stuff I've been saying today, and they might go, oh yeah, and they settle. They find out who they really are. And I say to them, will you ever get scared again? Yeah. Will you ever get anxious again? Sure. Will you ever get angry again? I reckon. Will you know more quickly what it really is all about? Yeah. And the deeper you swim in this, the deeper the understanding, the more peace you find. And that, in the end, is what everybody's looking for. It's Sid who said everybody is searching for themselves. Everybody is looking outside themselves for what's already in them. And the moment you go, oh my God, it is. I don't need a brand new car. I don't need the next iPhone. I don't need it. I just quite fancy it, but I'm okay. And people start to wake up. And then they're far more able to go and get the things they want because they've got nothing on not having them. What would you be prepared to do if your belief that your well-being was dependent on it didn't matter? If you didn't care if you got it or not, you just went out and said, "I'll give it a go." What would you be prepared to do if you didn't let being scared of it stop you? What are you scared of? You're scared of your own imagination, and that's not real.
Yeah. It's funny, I'm sitting here and I've missed you, Peter. This takes me back to when you were mentoring me in the clarity training, and we'd sit and have connected conversations. You'd help me get unstuck in my mind and unravel things. And I'm really delighted to have reconnected again today. And I'm sure those watching will have gotten loads of value from this. Can I ask you, what's next for Peter Mack? I know you've had loads on your plate, but what's next?
Well, what I've decided to do, I think, because I've been so involved, principles involved for a while, reaching out and helping other people, I'm kind of been backing off from a little bit and catching my breath a little bit, because you can get really busy, putting the word out there. But I still love to do that. And so what I've discovered is that it really is great experimenting. It's really great thinking, well, I wonder what's possible. Like I was alluding to, if I wasn't scared to do it, what would be possible? What do I quite like doing? What value can I get out of my remaining heartbeats just by being me? Not because I need to prove myself to one soul on this earth, most importantly to myself either. I have nothing to prove. But if I wanted to have a passion to do something, what might it be? And so I guess what I'm doing is I'm waiting for that inspiration to land and go, yep, got it. That's how I feel, and there's information in that feeling. As Steve just said, their feelings are just informing you what's going through your thought system in this moment. They don't know about the world out there. They're giving you feedback about what's running through your thought system now. And so right now, if there's a feeling, a sense of it, which says, Peter, just calm it down a little bit, catch your breath, and I'll let you know when you're ready, because as I've been known to say before, I am the universe's glove puppet. It's playing me, giving me the idea that I'm running the show. Why would this brief magnesium flash of my life be running life? I'm lucky to be a part of it, swimming in a sea of thought and making me up. And so the wisdom is saying, catch your breath, sunshine, and I'll give you a little shake when I'm ready. And this might even be it, Danny. This might be the universe has gone, do that.
Yep.
Somebody will reach out to you because that's the next thing I have for you. Just show up.
Well, it's funny. I was in meditation, whenever it was, a week or two ago, when I first reached out to you, and it came in strongly inspired. Reach out to Peter, ask him to do one of these. And I genuinely didn't expect to get you till the new year, to be honest, because I know you've got so much on your plate. So I was delighted when he says, "Yeah, let's make it happen next week." And I also want to mention your Facebook group, Thrive and Shine. And I know you
Guys,
have,
you on there, I think.
yeah, I'm in there, certainly, yes. And we're broadcasting into there as well at the moment. And I know you have plans to do your daily inspirational, message.
Yeah,
Every
I
Monday.
kept writing those again because I got busy doing other
Yeah.
things. But they're starting, as I talked about before, they're starting to sort of tap on my head and go, you should start writing those again, and they're really interesting. And I may tweak them and republish some of them, and then start building up that head of steam on it because I've written a lot, and just it does point to that. Weirdly, I like to think that I'm a funny guy. I'm sure my wife would, wrestle me to the ground on that at times. She's probably more than a bit pissed off with my so-called humour. But I tried to write stuff about what I see the principles as being in it with a humorous spin, but it was not funny. It was coming out proper, not right. I'm thinking, wow, what's wrong with me? And then this quiet voice of wisdom said, just write what you feel. And I went, oh, okay. So I just started to write stuff that occurred to me. And this stuff just poured out. And I'd look back at it and even read about it and go, bloody hell, that's quite good, that. Who wrote that? And in a way, I think it used me to write it. It's that when people talk about the muse visiting, you listen to anybody who's written a song and they're standing in front of, I don't know, 30,000 people all singing that song thinking, I cannot quite believe that this thing came out of me. And then they go and try and write the next one, and the internet goes, right, I know what to do, I'm going to do that, and it goes all wrong because they think they're doing it. Be open to the fact that you're being played. It's the novelist who says, oh no, these characters, they just come. And the moment I get writer's block is when I think I have to do it, as opposed to let it do me.
Great point. Yeah, that hits the nail on the head, to be honest. And how often we forget that. And that can relate as well. Inspiration comes or follow it, and it reaches a large audience. If I try and sit there and make it happen, as you say, it can fall flat on its face.
It was Michael Neal who said that we're sitting on this giant, immeasurable well of creativity, and it kind of flows through us, and we grab it, or it says, you could do that. And we go, ego goes, oh, no, not you. No, you don't know this. You don't know that. It's not meant for you. No. And this creator, what a wisdom says, this is impersonal, this ability, so I'll just find somebody else who'll do it. And you are in danger of dying with your music inside you. Just make music, make words, just do it. Just revel in the fact that just for a brief amount of time, you're a creative energy on this planet. And you have an imagination, which, if you use to create, is an extraordinary thing. We're an amazing species. Look around you at all that we as a species have created. If, however, you use your creativity against yourself, which most people do, your imagination against yourself, then you're going to keep your life small. And there's no point in doing that, because it's for sure going to end. And make sure your music's in some way out of you before it does. An echo in the world. Why not? Because in the grand scheme of things, you matter both immeasurably because you are life itself, and you matter not one jot. Because when you're gone, you're gone. All done. Life flows on. Life flows through you. You are a coincidence of stars, little bits of stars that came together to make a you, very briefly, who's aware of itself, and who has a story to tell which it holds dear, and who will one day return to being bits of stars, and on goes the whole thing. So while you're briefly here, cut the crap.
Go get it. Yes, absolutely. What an amazing note to end on, Peter. It's been an absolute pleasure. We've been going for an hour, which has gone like that. It really has. I can't believe it's been an hour. I want to thank everyone for joining us and for all the comments. And if you're watching the replay as well, keep on posting comments. I'm sure, I know I'll be revisiting and answering as well. Peter, you're a gentleman. Love you to bits. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you to everyone for watching. Any final thoughts?
Hey, love is the answer. Remember that. You are love.
Yes.
Enjoy being you.
Yes.
That's it.
Isabel saying thank you. Thank you, Isabel. Anyway, speak to you all soon. Take care. Delene saying awesome. Thank you. I'll just get a couple of these comments on the screen.
Thanks, yeah. Thanks.
Steve from before.
That's Steve.
Yeah. All the best. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care. God bless, mate.